The City of Hamilton's website is back up and running after it went down yesterday. The city says yesterday's outage was a preemptive security measure. The website was unavailable because of system changes made by city staff after a ransomware attack a couple of weeks ago now. Mayor Andrea Horvath joins us with an update. And wow, I bet you're tired of answering questions about this, but I mean, we have to talk about it because
for sure.
So where are we now?
Well, it's interesting. It is 2 weeks. It would be 2 weeks yesterday that this all started to unravel, and we are working day in and day out. Our staff is with some significant help from experts from a couple of firms that are expert on this field, and our biggest priority is to keep people's private information safe. We don't want people's information to get out there and be utilized by bad actors on the internet.
And you're talking about employees, you're talking about taxpayers, everybody in the city.
Everybody in the city.
Anybody who uses a city service,
Absolutely.
essentially.
So that's job number one. We've been successful. As far as we know, there's nothing that's been stolen in that regard. We have to keep it that way, mind you, and so we're working hard on that and working hard to get things back up and running. A lot of our departments have worked on some ways of providing public services, without the normal access to the technology that they would use. So we're coming up with workarounds, I guess is what you would call it, and trying to continue to provide the kind of services that people expect from their city. But it is something that has really, it is problematic, and it has taken us for a loop, obviously, and we're doing everything we can to address it. And
so you've got a task force working on this.
100%
It's the emergency response, which was initially set up well, not set up for the pandemic, but used during the pandemic.
Absolutely, yeah. It's called the Emergency Operations Center, and so it's some of our top senior leadership team, as well as some other experts, obviously, in the IT section, and they're working, as I said, around the clock, Monday through Sunday.
What is as mayor, your biggest priority in getting a service? If you could pick one service to get back up and running again, what would your pick be?
Oh, I mean, it's just hard to say, right? There are so many important services that people rely on. Of course, the first thing that came to mind for me was our emergency services, our fire and our paramedics, and they're doing everything they can, our transportation system, so the HSR, so people can get around. And again, those things are operating. They are still being able to serve the public. Buses maybe not as timed, as
right. You can't use the app to find out when your bus comes in, and you can't. They don't have the automatic calls, so when you're on the bus, you don't know which stop is next.
That's exactly right. And as well, there's a way that we make sure that the buses are getting to the stops in proper order. Sometimes you'll see probably more buses from time to time being queued up as opposed to being separate time-wise. And so those things were for me, those are the big ones, right? That's important. People's ability to get transportation, people's ability to know that they're safe if there's an emergency that happens, that those systems are up and running. And then there's everything else. I mean, everything from recreation centers to access to the library and the services that the library provides. It's pretty much everything. People are concerned about their taxes not being taken out of their accounts when they're on those.
Will that happen?
Well, my understanding is that's slowing down. That's been slowed down, and that's it will happen when we get it back online. So I guess I would say to folks, keep that money aside, because if it hasn't come out automatically as it would normally do, then it will come out eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
The city had insurance against this.
Yeah, the city has insurance, so we're still working on the details of that. And again, I wish this was all over, but these things are, not only are they devastating, but
they can take months.
They can take time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
What about criticism that the city wasn't upfront in it kind of went silent for a while, and everybody's wondering what's going on?
Well, I understand that criticism, and the reality is the first couple of days was really just trying to figure out exactly what has happened, and what were the steps that we needed to take. And so we got the operations center up and running, and we got the firms engaged in the work. The insurance company as well had to be engaged in all of that. And so it was a matter of, we didn't have a lot of information at the beginning. We were trying to figure out exactly the extent of what had happened, and you know, where the involvement was.
Right.
I mean, why did it happen? Right.
Do you know? I know you can't answer this, but do you know who is behind this?
Well, there are a couple of you know, players, I guess you would call it, who organizations that do this kind of thing, apparently, that are on the you know, on the internet, and they're out there doing it to municipalities, to provinces, to states, to businesses and companies, and yeah. So there's a couple of suspect ones. Yes.
Okay. And Hamilton Mayor Andrea Horvath, let you get back to City Hall, where the computers aren't working.
Yeah, exactly,
some of them are, but some of them not. Thanks for the update. And we'll be right back with more Morning Live right after this.